Because the United Nations Humanitarian Chief Martin Griffiths on Monday expressed shock at the level of pain and suffering of most of Somalia's population. He said the international community is in the last minute of the 11th hour to avoid a full-blown disaster in Somalia. Here's more details of that in this report, again with Moses Emende.
Griffiths' remarks ring an alarm to the immense pain and suffering of the Somali people at the brink of starvation unless immediate and drastic action is taken. The country's food security and nutrition analysis report showed concrete indications that famine will occur in the Bay region and Burhakaba district in south-central Somalia between October and December of this year. Speaking in Mogadishu, the United Nations Humanitarian Chief expressed shock at the state of suffering in the country, saying famine is at the door and warned that the trends project a more severe situation compared to a decade ago.
The situation and trends resemble those seen in 2010-2011, in that crisis, except now they're worse. The unprecedented failure of 4 consecutive rainy seasons, decades of conflict, mass displacement, severe economic issues are pushing many people to the brink of famine.
It is expected that 1.5 million children across Somalia will face acute malnutrition by October if the situation doesn't change. Mr. Griffiths reported that medical teams in a local hospital are struggling to keep up with the rush of emaciated children who seek treatment, and the numbers are soaring.
I visited the local hospital with the exceptional medical staff, both government and non-government, whose medical teams are struggling to keep up with the rush of emaciated children who seek treatment, and they're the lucky ones, the ones who make it there. One of the doctors told me that they're seeing an increase of 40 to 50% more children than they did just a few weeks ago.
Griffiths cautioned that the clock is ticking and the world is in the 11th hour to save lives. He was also at Baidoa in the Bay region, understood to be the epicenter of the hunger crisis that is ripping through Somalia. While speaking from the region, Mr. Griffiths made a far cry for the world to shift attention to the plight of the people of Somalia.
18 days, many children was suffering from malnourished children in the camp here.
The stories that we hear from the people in this camp and in the hospital from which we just came are stories that need to be told around the world. A world which is busy with other stories and where needs, as we see here so clearly, are being ignored. Okay, hang on.
Yeah, it's inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just...
I'm going to walk on water later. Oh my God. We fear here in Somalia that the worst is yet to come, and yet I can tell you right now is bad enough. There are people who have been in this camp for 8 to 9 years, and when we ask them about their future, first of all, they don't really understand the question. Survival is enough. But then when they do, they tell us we don't have a future, we can't go home. We've been here for 8 years, there's violence where we came from, our animals have been sold.
Nearly half of the country's estimated population needs humanitarian assistance, with hundreds of thousands of people at imminent risk of death. Somalia is gripped by a devastating drought after being hit by 4 failed rainy seasons, forcing at least 1 million people into displacement. Other countries in the Horn of Africa, such as Ethiopia and Kenya, have also been hit by climate change. The UN's World Food Programme last month reported that the number of people at risk of starvation across the region had increased to 22 million. Moses Emende, Eyeafrica News.